Hello everyone, today I'm here with my October wrap-up, all of the books that I read and reviewed throughout the month of October. I had a pretty wonderful reading month, and as you guys know, I've been kind of slumpy recently, but I think I'm starting to finally pull out of it, so I'm so happy. Okay, let's jump into the books. The first book that I read in October was Killing Adonis by J.M. Donnellan. This book was very intriguing. The main character Freya sees this job advertisement that says light duties, large pay, no questions asked or answered. So she takes up this job, and basically she is the carer for this very rich family's comatose son, but everyone's kind of acting like he's not in a coma or just pretending that it didn't happen, just ignoring the whole fact of it, that he was in some accident, which leads to plenty of questions. I ended up thoroughly enjoying this book. I really liked the main character Freya. She is quite a snarky character, a little bit sassy, and I liked that, and the mystery aspects were really intriguing. I really enjoyed learning about what was actually going on. The only thing that I didn't love was the ending. I felt that it was just a little bit convenient, so that's the only thing that I can really say about this book. I definitely enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I finished Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close by Jonathan Safran Foer. This is a book that I started back in August, and I don't know why it took me so long to read this. Well, the slump obviously, but I'm kind of annoyed that it did take me so long, because when I did pick up this book and I got into the groove of it, I was loving it, and then I'd put it down for one reason or another, and I just have to stop for a little bit. I wish that I'd been able to read this all in one go, because it was a fantastic book. This is about Oscar, whose dad died in 9/11, and this is kind of his journey as he finds this key and he's not sure what it opens, so he goes on a bit of an adventure trying to find what this key opens, and he meets some interesting people along the way. And I just really like the narration of this, and the fact that throughout the book we have some little other images and things scattered throughout as well, and just the format and some of the letters. Yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. Loved this book. Then we have The Diviners by Libba Bray. I ended up listening to this one on audiobook, and I'm so glad that I did. The narrator is absolutely perfect. Just her range of voices and accents, and they're all done so well. She was just really able to capture the feel for the time period with all of those accents and the way that people spoke. It just felt like I was there. It really felt like I was there listening to these people talking. So this is set during the 1920s in New York City, and in particular we focus on a character, Evie O'Neill, and these very gruesome murders start to happen, and Evie, being the very curious and nosy character that she is, decides to take it upon herself to investigate them a little bit. I went into this book not really knowing much about the fact that there were these murders. I guess I kind of only really knew the fact that there are these diviners, these people with kind of supernatural abilities, and I really like that aspect, but I was also just pleasantly surprised with how dark and twisted things got with these murders. Just, oh my goodness. So it was a lot of fun learning about everything as it unraveled. I'm very excited to read Lair of Dreams. I'm definitely listening to that on audiobook as well, because the narrator, January Lavoie, is amazing. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but I think I'm leaning more towards a 4.5 because I can't really think of any way to fault it. I also read The Wide Window, which is book 3 of the series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. Rereading these books has been so much fun, and this is the last book that was included in the series of Unfortunate Events film that came out a while ago, and for that reason I've had those books and the events quite vivid in my mind, but from book 4 onwards I actually cannot remember a single thing. So I think it's going to be interesting continuing this series from this point onwards, because it is going to feel like I'm reading them for the first time again, because I've totally forgotten everything that happens. I'm excited. I'm excited. So in this one, Violet, Klaus and Sunny move in with their Aunt Josephine, who lives on a house on the very edge of a cliff by Lake Lachrymose, and Aunt Josephine is absolutely afraid of everything. She's terrified of using heating and the stove and electricity and even the phone, all those crazy things, and obviously Count Olaf manages to squeeze himself back into the Baudelaire children's lives and gets up to plenty of mischief. So yeah, these books are just so much fun. Really enjoying them. 4 out of 5 stars. Next we have Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas, the second book in the Throne of Glass series. I'm not going to go into the synopsis because it is a sequel, and I'm sure most of you guys know what Throne of Glass is about, but if not, Throne of Glass basically follows Selena Sardothian. She is Adelin's assassin, but something happens, she gets captured, she's in the salt mines, but she's given an opportunity to compete in a competition, the winner of which will become the King's assassin. I started this one back in June, I believe, and I got halfway through. Then I put it down because I fell into a reading slump. I finally managed to pick it back up again, and honestly, if I had pushed through and read even like 50 more pages, I think that would have pulled me right back out of that reading slump. The last half of this book blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. I don't even know how to express my thoughts. The first half of this book was a little bit slow for me, but from the midpoint onwards, things just spiral out of control. I'm just loving where this series is going. I cannot wait to finish Queen of Shadows. I need to finish it really soon. I'm just so excited. This book was amazing. This book was, yeah. 4 out of 5 stars. Next, we have another book that I listened to on audiobook, and that is The Martian by Andy Weir. Again, so happy that I listened to this on audiobook. The narrator did a wonderful job. I just think he captured Mark's personality so well. So Mark Watney and his crew are on a mission on Mars, and there is a very, very severe sandstorm that arrives that causes the crew to have to evacuate Mars, and unfortunately, they leave Mark Watney behind. They do believe that he is dead, but he manages to survive, miraculously. Here we have Mark Watney alone on Mars, and he's trying to figure out ways to survive because he's not going to be getting any help anytime soon. I am going to be doing a review on this one, so I'm not going to go too much into detail about my thoughts, but I loved Mark, and the way that he's able to keep his sense of humor in his circumstances is incredible. I loved his character. I like the format of this as well, how we kind of flick between Mark Watney and what's happening back on Earth as people realize that he is still alive, and it was just such an amazing book. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. OMG, yes. I also picked up Saga Volume 5 by Brian K. Vaughan, and this is a graphic novel series which you probably have heard about. I failed to describe this series in my book haul, so I'm not even going to try again, but it's just epic, and it involves space, a lot of action and war. It's quite action-packed and exciting, and I very much enjoyed this one again. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. This is probably my least favorite of the series so far, but still really good. I honestly cannot pinpoint what it was that I didn't enjoy as much as I did in the other ones. I'm not too sure because it's still action-packed, but I felt that it was a little bit slower in some ways, I guess. I'm not too sure. But I do definitely recommend picking up this graphic novel series. Then we have Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. This is one of the books that I had to read for my university literature in the screen class. I was a little bit underwhelmed by this book. I had watched Blade Runner back in high school, and I honestly don't know what I was expecting from this book. I wasn't blown away by it, unfortunately. I think it was partly due to the writing style of this one, just the way that things were described. I often found myself a little bit confused as to what exactly was happening. I just wasn't following along completely. The main character I didn't really care much for. The concept is really, really cool though. I did really like the concept. I just don't think this was the right time for me to read this book. At some point in the future I could totally see myself rereading this one and probably enjoying it a little bit more. So yeah, this time around it was 2 out of 5 stars. The last book that I read was another audiobook, and that is Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. I borrowed this one from my library totally on a whim. I thought I'd seen the movie for this one, but I definitely had not. I think I'd just seen it around the house. I think my mum bought it a while ago, but it was such a fun book. It was so cute. I think that I would have enjoyed this so much more had I read it a few years ago. Like, I didn't really have any problems with it, but I just didn't absolutely love it. So I gave it about a 3 out of 5 stars. One thing that I will say, I'm ashamed to admit this. This is kind of a Cinderella retelling. There's a lot of elements of the Cinderella story in here, and it took me a really long time to catch on to that. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe how slow I was. At certain points as I was listening to it, I was just like, oh, this seems really reminiscent of some fairy tales. It just didn't click that it was actually reminiscent of a single fairy tale, and that fairy tale was Cinderella. I went into it not knowing that it was going to be a retelling of any kind, but now that I know, I'm just like, wow, it's very obvious, and I feel very dumb. Anyway, so those are all the books that I read throughout October, but I did manage to put up a couple of reviews as well. The first book that I reviewed was Akane by Lynette Noni. This is the book that I gave a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's described as a mix between Harry Potter, X-Men, and Narnia. So if that intrigues you at all, take a look and see if it's something you're interested in. I also finally put up my review of Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is one of my favorite books of the year and all time. If you haven't picked up Illuminae already and you need a little more convincing, then just watch the review. Hopefully that'll be enough, because it's amazing. You should just buy it. It's so good. I have 4 copies of the book 4 copies. That's the most amount of copies I own of any single book. I don't care. No shame whatsoever. Anyway, that's all for my wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I won't be putting up a November TBR, mainly because I only have 2 books that I need to read this month, and that is Heir of Fire and Queen of Shadows, because I'm going to the Sario J Maas signing event on November 26th, so I'm hoping to finish those books before then. And there's also Winter by Marissa Meyer, which I'm gonna have to wait to read until the end of November, early December. There you go, that's basically my November TBR. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time with probably another NaNoWriMo update video, or another video if I have time to edit anything else. So yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Bye!